The VoiceBox is an original WNCU 90.7 FM podcast that serves as an outlet for local community members of Durham to connect with local businesses and resource centers.
In addition, this podcast will update WNCU listeners about upcoming projects and events organized by the station.
We're here to give a voice. This is the VoiceBox.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Harper.
Hi, I'm Jalen Harrison.
Hi, I'm Corey Ritter.
We're the hosts of the VoiceBox.
What do you want to be when you grow up? This is a common question that is asked in our lifetime, especially when we're young.
It is an insightful query that sparks our minds to consider what brings us the most joy in life, such as being a doctor, being a sports player, or even being a creator.
With the creation of BlackSpace, those interests and passions came to life for many aspiring artists in the multimedia world. In this interview, we spoke with the founder, Freelon Naima Harrell, an alum of BlackSpace, and the director of the upcoming documentary, Rowdy Life.
We explored the establishment of BlackSpace, how the hub has an impact on Black and Brown youth, and also the community of Durham, North Carolina.
What's up, guys? It's Corey, one of the hosts from the original WNCU podcast, The VoiceBox. If you want to listen to WNCU anyplace, anytime, anywhere, just download our WNCU app where you can listen to all your jazz favorites, NPR, and original WNCU podcasts like The VoiceBox, because wherever you are, WNCU is right there with you. Now let's get back to the episode.
So first, I'm just going to ask you your names, your roles, and where you're from. So Pierce, we'll start with you first.
Okay. My name is Pierce Freelon. I'm from Durham, and my role in the documentary is a producer for Rowdy Life.
And what is your role at BlackSpace?
I founded BlackSpace.
My name is Naima, and I guess my role, right? My role as a creative, I would say, is a storyteller. I enjoy music. I also like to do films. I have done dance in the past, and the common denominator is story. So I'm a storyteller. And in the documentary, I'm the director and the cinematographer. And I'll also be a character. So.
And where are you from?
I'm from Durham, North Carolina.
We'll jump in. Start with you, Pierce. Where did the name BlackSpace come from?
Oh, wow. Well, BlackSpace plopped me on the head in 2016. I was working out of a studio in Chapel Hill called Beat Making Lab, and then we changed the name to Artivism. I was just telling my friend this the other day. Sometimes an idea hits me with so much clarity that I can physically feel it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it feels like a gentle, just a very soft tap on the head. Mm-hmm. And I call that a plunk.
Okay.
And BlackSpace hit me as a plunk. I Googled it. I was like, there's nothing called BlackSpace. Mm-hmm. And it made sense because I wanted a space where Black culture was centered, where Black youth and facilitators could connect and feel safe and creative. I wanted a space that where Afrofuturist ideas could come to fruition and creativity could thrive. And it was just like plop, BlackSpace. And I can't even say I came up with it. It just kind of a knowing descended upon me like a gentle tap on the head.
Right. It was like somewhat of a calling for sure. Now you mentioned Afrofuturism, and I just want you to explain what does that term Afrofuturism mean to you, and how does it shape or relate to BlackSpace?
Afrofuturism to me is about kind of creating a future through a Black lens. Yeah. And I think for Black folks in the States, we have had a long tradition of kind of manifesting and creating divine and abundant futures. And so, just tapping into that tradition, the tradition of Octavia Butler, of Parliament Funkadelic, of Sun Ra, of Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr. There's a lot of folks who lived during times where Black folks were struggling for rights and for freedom and for agency, and it takes a radical imagination to be able to think about and work towards a future that doesn't exist in the present. And so I think at BlackSpace we want to nurture future thinkers, people who can envision what the world's going to be like in 5, 10, or 500 or 10,000 years, and plant seeds to build that future. So that's kind of what Afrofuturism means to me, and I do see it as a kind of a tradition and a birthright of Black people, especially in the United States. There's just been such a rich tradition of Afrofuturist thinkers, people who are innovative, people who saw abundance and beauty and wholeness in Black people, and then were able to struggle towards building that and creating that reality for their descendants.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, like multidimensional, as Black people, we are. And speaking of just developing, the Black youth into this space. Naima, you were a student at BlackSpace, right? And so tell us like how you got involved into BlackSpace, and what drew you into it.
Like I was adopted into BlackSpace. So I joined BlackSpace in 2016, and it's safe to say like the past 5 to 10 years before that, I had been very like closed off, inside my shell. I've always been a storyteller, like I said, but like I just didn't know, I didn't have a safe space to like share that and explore it. And one day I was at Central Park and I saw all these kids like in like a cipher type of thing where some of them were spitting poems, some of them had artwork that they were showing, and some of them were rapping. And that was the first time I was like, I wonder if like I could rap, because poetry, like it's pretty like close linked. So I was like, maybe I'll try, and I did that. To my surprise, like I did that in the cipher, and other kids who were in BlackSpace already were like, oh, what's up, you should come to BlackSpace. And I was like, what's that? And so I started going every Friday. And I kept going back because like I call BlackSpace like my found family. Like those were literally all kids who were like expressing themselves authentically through poetry and rap, and it just gave me a space to like explore that. And I discovered what my late mentor Rowdy introduced me, my God voice, which was like literally just a voice that was inside me that I was able to authentically express myself without like any fear, any reservations. So I discovered that through BlackSpace.
That is so beautiful, and like, speaking of mentorship, it seems like that's what BlackSpace was, for you, and how you were just able to find your people. So that is like genuinely really beautiful. Piers, going back to you, I just want to know like what exactly were like your core values or just your mission to creating like this space? Like what shaped your work to create this?
I would go out around Durham and kind of connect with other artists, adult artists, youth artists. I was at one of the events at Central Park the first time I met Naima. She was there with a young guy named Zone and another guy named Jam, and Durham has always struck me as a place that was full of amazing, brilliant talent. And so initially the inclination was just like, hey, pull up, like let's connect, let's get together, let's create, let's be. Yeah. And out of that, a culture emerged. We call what we create at BlackSpace a breathing space. And that I didn't come up with that term. We did a gathering in 2018 with BlackSpace youth, parents, students, and adult creative facilitators, and just working with Dr. Margaret Brunson of Alum Leadership, who's one of our board members. She kind of led us through a process where we discussed, where we kind of named what BlackSpace is, and what came out of that was a breathing space, a space where folks can kind of feel like, you know, we can kind of settle into our Blackness unapologetically, into our queerness, into our, you know, just the rich, diverse spectrum of what Blackness entails, as evidenced through that statement of Blackness that you said when you came to BlackSpace. Oh, I like that. Like that was co-created during that meeting, and we also kind of developed some language around. It's a little sci-fi, like weird. I love being weird and nerdy, so that's not a bad thing. But kind of identified like dark energy and dark matter. Like those are, first of all, for all my physicists out there, like most of the observable universe is made up of these things that we don't know what they are. Dark matter, dark energy. You know, that's what makes up most of the universe. And so think of our dark energy as love, and our dark matter as like our physical bodies, our you know, flesh sacks. And so we call that the black hole, WHOLE. So I can go into a lot of detail, but you know, we like to conjure an energy of love, we like to conjure an energy of creativity, an energy of collaboration, and our goal is to create whole Black people whose emotional realities and gender identities and expressions can feel heard, feel nurtured, feel invigorated, you know. And again, like I can't say like, oh, I thought of this and built this. It was really just like connecting with like-minded people, and then collectively named what we were doing, and that was what came out. So yeah, this Black cosmic family that organically emerged out of Durham's like youth art scene.
Explain the diversities of Black people, you know, because we are in that way, you know, diverse in our own unique ways, and like how the space is very inclusive. So that's very beautiful. And Naima, I do want to get to you about like how has your experience like with BlackSpace influenced your personal or creative growth?
Yeah, I don't think I ever would have called myself a rapper or explored that avenue without BlackSpace. I started in poetry just because like very early on when I was super young, I was kind of just doing short stories. And then I think I wrote a poem one day, and my teacher was like, "Oh, this is really good. You should show this to your mom." And my mom was like, "Yeah, this is great." And so I still hadn't really crossed over into I hadn't really crossed over into poetry until much later. And then when BlackSpace came into the picture, I shifted into rapping. I think BlackSpace is super crucial in my artistic journey because recently I've been using my art to heal, to express stuff that I don't talk about, which surprisingly is so much easier to do in a song or a rap than it is to just kind of sit down and say, hey, this is how I feel. Can you relate? Like, so yeah, I'd say discovering my God voice in BlackSpace allowed me to feel permission and encouragement to continue to authentically use that voice in every avenue of my artistic journey. So specifically right now, I'm trying to do a lot more filmmaking in addition to the songs and everything else that I refuse to let go. But it's just continuously showing up in everything I do because I'm bringing the grief, I'm bringing the joy, I'm bringing every aspect, every emotion, every experience into the process in everything I do.
That is deep. It's kind of just, kind of the saying of like, saying your pain through poetry, but just also just having that, using that outlet, even if you don't have access to, other areas, like if you can't, really talk to your friends or like, a therapist or something like that. It's just expressing that. And also you were just saying how you can't let go of your other art forms, and you're not putting yourself in one box. And it seems like that's how BlackSpace really has taught like the youth that they can do anything. And so it's like sing through you, which is really great to witness. But I do want to ask about the Rowdy Summer Ciphers, because we have like spoken about Rowdy, and I want to know who he is, what he was to you, what the ciphers are, and like why is it important to your workshops, but you also call them workshops.
Oh man. Okay, who was Rowdy? That was the first one. Okay, Rowdy was an educator and an MC in Durham. For me, he very quickly became like, he was a mentor for me first, but then it kind of morphed into like big bro. I think for me, like in BlackSpace specifically, for the workshops, I would like look at Rowdy and I wouldn't like, as opposed to being in a classroom where you like see your teachers and there's like an invisible wall, there's patronizing, like there's all kinds of like stuff that makes you feel like, oh, we're not connected, like you're here and I'm here below you and that's where I'm gonna stay. And like with BlackSpace and with Rowdy, it always kind of felt like, first of all, if he could put you up here, he would put you here and he'd be here below you. Until you would start on the same level, but then he would like try to push you up above him at the same time, which I always really admired and loved, because like I think, again, like when you're working with people who clearly are, older than you and who are more experienced than you and who have more skills and everything, and what you're trying to do, it's very easy to feel small and like underestimated. And with him, it just always felt like, like he could see stuff in you that you didn't even like pay attention to. So that was the feeling that I got from him. And especially when I graduated from school, I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and burnout and fear. And I actually went back into my 9-to-5 because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this degree. But yeah, so, and he like scooped me up very soon after I graduated and was like, come shoot some stuff for me. And so just very much like a motivator and like a force always, since like day one for me.
Yeah, it's funny, Rowdy was big bro to you. He was a little bro to me. He was just a brilliant artist. He was the best freestyle rapper I've ever met. One of the best. I've seen some dope freestyle $6 per day. Rowdy was up there, certainly one of the best live performers I've ever seen. So charismatic, so huge. Like, so first of all, he's big. Like, he was like 6'2", 6'3", and then his flat top put him another 5-6 inches above that.
Yeah.
So like, he was a big dude, but his heart was big. His energy, his aura was big, and you could feel it when you dap him up and he, just embraces you. You just feel love exuding from this incredibly powerful and compassionate man. And so, yeah, he was a great mentor to many of the kids in BlackSpace, and I love that about him. He came into the space and was magnetic. He poured into, sometimes to a fault, just like poured everything into the young people around him, and I think sometimes that left him depleted. That left him, wrung out. We used to do the cypher every single Friday, and Rowdy was out there. I don't care if it's 32 degrees outside. He was out there performing like there's 50,000 people in the audience. Like, he didn't have an off switch or turn down for what? Like, he was always kind of turned up. So, yeah, I think he was a joy to work with because he kind of wore his heart on his sleeve and was so generous with his time and his energy at BlackSpace. And, he gave everyone goals to look forward to. The kids, Reem and Rowdy and another facilitator, Mariah, between the three of them, they were doing poetry sessions, and so the poets would be upstairs with Mariah writing poems, and we did an open mic at PU Cafe where the kids every week would come and spit poems. Rowdy was working on rap and Reem on music production, so kids would be making beats and writing rhymes to those beats, and Rowdy would give them assignments. Get your pages in, write your pages of rhymes, and then they would share those rhymes with each other and record them on tracks and release the album. Shows. It was just like he had such an ambitious vision for what was possible with the raw talent coming out of Durham, and then he really took these young folks under his wing and taught them everything he knew. And that's how it's supposed to be. My grandma used to tell me, "Lift as you climb."
Yeah.
And I think Rowdy really embodied that mantra. Naima mentioned God voice. He had no problem tapping into his God voice. It was a natural thing for him. But for some folks who were kind of like, you hear God voice, you're like, well, what is that? It's like something that he taught them how to tap into and summon and to recognize the divinity in themselves, and then to have the courage to be able to share that divinity with others. Like that's wild. Yeah. That's an uncommon ability to be able to pull that out of someone. So yeah, I was really honored to work alongside him and also to mentor him. He was my mentee, and as an educator and world traveling musician and someone who was able to quit my 9-to-5 and do art full time, he was really studying my career, which, my mother is a jazz vocalist and a career musician. I got to study her. Yeah. Rowdy didn't have, a direct mentor that was a full-time artist, mentoring him before we started working together. So I basically my mom taught me everything she knew. I taught Rowdy everything I know. Rowdy taught, the BlackSpace kids everything we knew. It's like lift as you climb, and we all kind of rose up together.
Hi there, I'm Jasmine Harper, one of the hosts from the original WNCU podcast, The VoiceBox. I'm here to tell you that WNCU is a listener-supported radio station. For nearly 3 decades, we have played jazz music that you will not hear anywhere else. We often hold pledge drives during the year for new members and sustaining members. If you are wanting to become a member or just simply donate, you can always go to our secure website at WNCU.org and give a generous contribution there. Now, back to the episode.
It's amazing. And especially, like just collabing as Black folks and knowing that we are creative, and just wanting to know, like, with the Rowdy Cipher, it's like, what is it and why is it? I mean, besides it being, in honor of Rowdy himself, why is it important for many of the Black youth in BlackSpace?
Cipher is an event that Rowdy started in Durham. Let me back up a little bit. There is a Rowdy Cipher that started, I think they just celebrated their 50th or 20th anniversary. So that cipher is the first cipher that I'm aware of in the Triangle area. Basically a collective of rappers and beat makers and hip hop heads get together and they make art together. Sometimes that can include live musicians, freestyle rappers, poetry, singing, dance, graffiti. There's all different types of elements that can pop off in a cipher, but essentially it's a circle of artists that get together and start creating. Rowdy started a cipher at his alma mater, UNC Chapel Hill, and he started a cipher in Durham in 2017. In February of 2017, I think was our first cipher. I think it was February 2017. So every Friday we get together and we improvise, and it's really cool because improvisation. If you go to a jazz concert, you'll see a lot of improvisation, piano, the saxophone, whatever. We take words and we weave them into live stream of consciousness poetry. And Rowdy was the founder and the facilitator and the space holder for that. And sometimes we'll have a dictionary out there. You open the dictionary, point at a random word, and then everybody just starts rapping about that word. Or we'll have other pieces. Sometimes there's a live drummer. Sometimes there's live beat makers. And we come together, we say cipher. There's call and response. There's like different elements of hip hop. And Rowdy always makes sure to acknowledge 4 elements of hip hop. There's a lot of elements, but the 4 core elements are the MC, DJ, b-boy, and graffiti. And he has different calls that acknowledge different kind of like, I guess you could call it almost like a hook. It's like a chorus. It's like a thing. 1 for the DJ, 1 for the DJ, 2 for the b-boy, 2 for the b-boy. Everybody kind of shouts it out. And it is this really beautiful kind of live performance / like expression of community, togetherness, creativity, and celebration of hip hop culture.
But honestly, like how beautiful it is that Rowdy was such an influential person in you all space, and just seemed like just an angel with a flat top. Not all angels wear wings. So I just think that is just the most amazing thing, and how you have this cipher to honor him with, for sure.
The documentary that you are creating about Rowdy, I guess what made you want to create this documentary?
It's funny because I've been working on my artist statement for talking about the film, and I still am working on that, but I will do my best. I will always go back to my love of storytelling. I'm learning that like storytelling isn't just like my passion, but I think it's also my love language. I think that stories are very powerful. Documentary I came across more, I guess, heavily pretty recently. I think I go to documentary when I want to learn about someone, when I want to learn something, when I want to feel something real, because docs are stories that are already out there. Like, there are so many stories that are already out there, they're just waiting to be told. And it also is like an opportunity to give my mind a break, because I love writing fictional stories, but it does it kind of like stalls my process sometimes, because I can be a perfectionist with like that kind of stuff. So I love when there's already a story, and I just need to tell it. So with Rowdy specifically, I had always been talking to him ever since I graduated about like wanting to uplift him in that way. Like, let me shoot something for you, let me give you some visuals, like let me push you out there, because like you're very present in Durham, but like I want to be able to go on YouTube and find everything you're doing there. Like, I want to be able to see what you're doing, not just witness it in the present. And we were getting to it, but he was this very busy, busybody person. And I think the first thing that I actually got to shoot for him professionally was when he performed with the Greensboro Symphony. That was like super, super cool. I was there with him and Amanda, who's his close friend and a photographer. And we had formed this team after we got through it called the Rowdy team, I think. Oh no, something like that. But we were like, yeah, we're gonna, she's gonna be the photographer, I'm gonna be the videographer, and you're the performer, and just the power of three. And so I really had in my mind already since then that I was going to be giving him visuals and helping him tell his story. And I was kind of heartbroken when like I felt, like out of nowhere that couldn't be anymore. But it was very shortly after that. Like I'm very religious, very spiritual, and I talk to God a lot. And I feel like very shortly after that, I was just giving so many signs that like now is like the time more than ever before to use my gift to uplift his name and uplift his legacy. And so I would say the project was born just out of so many things. I feel a responsibility, personal responsibility to still continue what we were going to do before he passed. I feel an obligation to put that story out there for the world because of the skills that I've been blessed with, and because of what I know, and my love for story and all that, and because of who he was to me. And I also know that he has a lot of community everywhere. Like I'm pretty sure he has people in China, like fans in China. And I'm just like, we are all so estranged, like not just like my immediate found family with like BlackSpace and Only Us, which I don't know if it gets to that, but just community everywhere. Like he touched so many people, and I really want there to be something that everybody everywhere can look at and realize, okay, yeah, we all knew this guy, and now we're learning even more about him and about his music and about his family and his community and his message and everything. So that's
probably his voice as well telling you to just go ahead and do this and create and continue what you all started. I actually saw that video with him performing at the symphony. I thought it was like well shot, like gave me chills, honestly. Like how you were saying earlier, how he was just an amazing performer. I mean, gosh, just to be in that room, just looking at the video, I'm like, wow, wish I was there, So yeah, I think that's very powerful. And you touched on this a little bit with what you recently stated, but I mean, is there anything else that you hope that individuals gain from looking at this documentary, besides just knowing the type of individual that he is, or that he was?
Yeah, I think this documentary, it's actually a visual album documentary, which I don't believe there are many things like that out there right now. I know there's this film that just toured around called Songs from the Hole, and I couldn't watch it because it's still touring and it's still super hot, but I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I think that this film is supposed to be autobiographical, but it's also supposed to be an educational tool around mental health, around specifically Black men mental health, around artists mental health, young artists and entrepreneurial mental health, because Rowdy was very determined. He was very successful because of it, but he was also very burnt out, very afraid to admit to being burnt out, and I think that that's something that I myself and many other young creatives are going through, and it's almost like we feel like it's a rite of passage, and it's not. You do not have to burn yourself out to get where you want to be, and I think that this film is kind of a cautionary tale as well as like an educational and informational tool about how to manage things like that, where to turn to, the importance of acknowledging where you are spiritually, emotionally, as well as physically in your journey, and what you need to do to stay well and get where you want to be. So yeah.
I definitely see like the influence and the impact that this film is going to already have, And it's not even finished. I know Pierce had showed us a teaser of it all, and yeah, just can't wait to see it on the big screen. And I know it's going to take you all far for sure. Now, just going back to BlackSpace and how Black youth are just involved. What kind of narratives about Black youth do you see in this world, and how does BlackSpace redefine them?
Well, I try not to concern myself too deeply with narratives that about Black folks that don't come from Black folks.
Yeah.
I know that there are stereotypes and preconceived notions that exist to kind of keep us in a framework of smallness. And I'm much more interested in amplifying the abundant, loving, creative, really hilarious joy, grief, collaborative, communal spirit that is the essence of African people. And you don't need to look too hard to find it. Naima mentioned being religious. You ever been to a Black church? I went to a Catholic school in high school, Immaculata, for a few years, and it was a white Catholic church, and it was very amen, and I was like, this ain't like my grandma's church. We kind of turn up a little different. We have a different ethos. That in Brazil they call it ginga. It's like a word for your aura or your essence. And I think the essence of Black folks, especially Black folks in community, is absolutely vibrant. And so you see that in our youth. You see it in Black spaces, where folks feel safe and like they can breathe. You see it at the cookouts. You see it at the, you see it in popular culture, how we show up in sports and in in dance performances and all different types of creative expressions. And so, I think tapping into that is healthy. I think tapping into that is healing. Yeah, that's kind of what I've learned through personal experience and just want to share with young folks through BlackSpace.
Yeah, it's definitely powerful for sure there. And I know that you speak on collaboration as well. And I was just wondering, how do you involve Black youth in the creative process to ensure that their voices are being authentically represented?
Well, you just it's like Naima said, Rowdy did a great job of first of all sharing skills. We know things and we share those things that we know. They know things that we don't know. And so there's not like a teacher mentor hierarchy. It's kind of like we're all here to learn from each other, and we do learn from each other. And I think, community is really important in Black culture. I think that, when Rowdy passed, the first thing I did was galvanize the community that loved him, and so that we could grieve together. We went to the together and had food, broke bread together, and now we're working on this documentary together. Like, we're grieving together, just like we thrive together, we create together, we release albums together. There's this sense that even as Naima is releasing music, I feel a personal sense of like pride in having been a part of her journey. And to the audience, it might look like, oh, this is an individual artist kind of flowering, but at the stem of that flower are roots that run deep, that Rowdy and Reem and Zone and Jam and and BlackSpace and the Cipher and OU, which Only Us was a label that Reem and Rowdy started together. Like those nutrients that manifest themselves in the art that you see are the product of a collective nurturing that has occurred over 10 years. So I see that communal collective process as like just a healing, dope way to be alive. We're here, as we've learned, we have no idea how long we're here, but it's a lot more fun when we're here together. And I think that's especially when you're around like good, healed, loving people, or even not you don't even need to be healed, but right. Healing, in the process of honing your craft and healing your heart, and I think that with Black folks especially happens in a real electric way in community.
Definitely a huge resource for sure. And Naima, I want to ask you about the support that you have received from your mentors, but I also want to know like your how you were able to or your peers, how were you able to have that peer support impact your experience at BlackSpace?
I think it's like very crucial to have not only like mentors and people who are like ahead of you and older than you and everything encouraging you, but like also having people who are same age, like-minded, still figuring life out, supporting you as well. And that was like a huge part of the found family aspect in BlackSpace. Like literally when I joined like the MC workshop, having like I have, even to this day, I have a lot of anxiety when it comes to freestyling. It's like it doesn't come as naturally to me, in my opinion, but even so, all of my peers like are still like, come in the circle, come in the cipher, and like if I just get in there for like a couple minutes and say some stuff that doesn't even rhyme for real, like they're still cheering me on. And I think like specifically in cipher culture, like that's so powerful, having permission to step in and quote unquote like perform and share your voice and everything with people who aren't like there to judge you, but they're just there to like lift you up and encourage you and cheer you on. And in BlackSpace it felt like that too, even when I was still even when I was in poetry, and I was like I got the chance to go to B&V because of that, and the whole way through that process I had like-minded, same age individuals who were supportive and encouraging, and it transferred straight into the MC workshops as well. I had a bunch of kids in the space who were always there to like be like, yo, Naima, like, I forgot what verses you got. especially Rowdy. But yeah, I would say just like feeling like you're supported by the people who are also learning with you, and everything was super helpful.
Can you explain what BNB is?
Oh, yeah.
I know what that is.
Sorry. BNB is Brave New Voices. This huge gathering. I don't know if I think it's just in the US or something. I don't know. But it's like a bunch of people come together, poets from everywhere, and it's this huge competition where they get to perform for huge audiences. It's great exposure, super cool experience. Like, I haven't gotten to do anything like it since, and it's still like very much a core memory. So happy I got to experience that. The workshop was in preparation for it. So like we would have the poetry workshops where we would write the poems and practice together, and then we would kind of have performance / practices at VU Cafe. And then over time, as we were performing at VU Cafe, we started gathering our team to go to Brave New Voices and compete there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely inspiring, and just, getting to learn from, different folks. I mean, it's really amazing, and just, Pierce, you had showed us like a video of Issa Rae saying networking across, and just, using, you being a creator and then knowing other creators that you've like worked with and, kind of came up with is truly important. So glad that you got that experience and was able to share that with your peers, for sure. Now, I do have to ask, Pierce, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and also challenges ahead of you for BlackSpace?
Well, one of the big opportunities for BlackSpace, I think, is producing this documentary, Rowdy Life. Naima, as an alumna of BlackSpace, and went on to college to get their degree at the North Carolina School of the Arts, and then to come back home to produce and direct and star in a film, I think is, it's a great testament to the impact that we've had. I mean, we can't take credit for that. Clearly, Naima was dope before she came into BlackSpace, and they continue to just be like, a creative, competent, communicative, and caring, positive influence. But I think this documentary, I don't know. I don't think too deep about outcomes, but if I created BlackSpace for no other reason than to galvanize this group of folks to make this documentary, then that's great. That's enough, because that this film is going to impact the city of Durham, Rowdy's beloved community, and people who never knew him for years to come, and to have poured into the souls who have created and continue to create this work of art is an end in and of itself, and I don't need I don't need anything more than that to justify the tireless unpaid hours that I poured into BlackSpace. I mean, it's just, some things in life are more important than that defy explanation or rationalization. It's just, this needs to be out in the world, and so that's why we're here. And I think that's the opportunity, is to make dope art and to continue making dope art.
I do want to just last question here for the both of y'all. Well, first we'll start with you. What have the students taught you?
The BlackSpace community has taught me that I think that there's healing in community. I'll say that, and I think it's there's healing in intergenerational community, And what I mean by that, I mean, so younger and older people working together on stuff, and we're learning slang and beats and techniques and art from y'all, and we're pulling from our sources. But I also think when I say intergenerational, I mean like ancestral learning. So we're learning from our ancestors. Rowdy is now an ancestor. And I think there's probably some like future ancestor energy that's also like part of the cipher. We're planting seeds and building culture that will reverberate long after we're gone. And so that is part of it too. So yeah, I mean, I think that we're only here on this earth for a short time, some shorter than others. And I think community is the way to go about this time that we have. Community makes it doper. That would be the lesson that I've learned from being a part of BlackSpace. It's hard because when you develop a tether to a loving spirit like Rowdy and then he's gone, it hurts. And that pain is part of being in community with Rowdy. But also it's worth it because the pain that we carry and what we do with it is also a gift to the same community that where those ties were tethered. So yeah, it's just everything's doper in community. I think that would be my biggest lesson.
The quote of the day. For sure. And then Naima, last question for you. Besides this documentary, what kind of impact do you hope to make on your community through your creativity moving forward?
I feel like the reason that I even became drawn to like things like film and storytelling and everything is because stuff like that helps me to understand myself better and to understand the world around me. I have come to terms with the fact that I cannot control everything. However, I can control stories, and I feel like a part of it, my appreciation and admiration for stories is that feeling like, well, this didn't end right in my life, or there's still unanswered questions here for me, but I can answer them in a story, and it does give you a sense of closure, even if that's not how life works. Like people go to movies and listen to music and stuff to yes, to escape at times, but like also to feel seen and to feel heard and understood, to feel less alone in whatever they're going through. And so that's what it's done a lot for me. It's healed me a lot. And I just want to reciprocate that because I feel like the world needs so much healing right now. Don't even know where to start with it, but the easiest place for me to start would just to be to start in areas where I personally feel like I need it, because deep down, we all have things that are very different about us, but we have things that are very similar as well in terms of like struggles and internal battles and things. So if you start with speaking to whatever that is for you, next thing you know, you're speaking to like 10,000 other people at the same time. And so I think that's just what I would like to contribute. Like as I'm healing, I would like to share that and possibly do that for other people.
Really appreciate you both, just for talking to us today and coming on the VoiceBox. I mean, it was just amazing, just hearing your stories and about BlackSpace, about your documentary, Rowdy Life. So I wish you all the best, like in the future and moving forward. Yeah, so this was great. Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Voice Box.
New episodes of The Voice Box will be released every other Friday. You can stream The Voice Box on our social media platforms. On Facebook at WNCU-radio and on Instagram at WNCU_FM.